we are going to be making an Easter treat card. This is such a fabulous project. Now for supplies, you are going to need a few things. Of course, you're going to need asset number 405 from our resource library. Now you can access it two ways, free.creativecraftersclub.com or hub.creativecraftersclub.com. You're going to need 2 sheets of Easter colored paper. 8.5 by 11 works extremely well. I've used a pattern sheet and a pink sheet for the ones we are going to use. You need a plastic ornament half, as you can see on the screen here. 12 inches of ribbon, a 1/2 inch works really well, a decorative brad, and of course some candy for the treats. Now the one thing I do use here is a perforation tool. If you don't have one, just let the machine cut the lines, and I'll show you how to work that a little later. So that's our supplies list, and we are going to go over to Design Space and we are going to upload the file that we need. So let's go over to Uploads. We've started a new project and I'm just going to show you the name. This is called Easter Treat Card, and remember, you grab that from the resource library. I better close a little X here. I'm just going to grab it. I'm going to add it to the canvas. Now there's not a lot of stuff that you actually need to do here, but we do need to cut a few things as we are working on them. Now it looks like I clicked on it twice, so let me just click away and let's grab one and get rid of it. These are the parts and pieces we need. As you can see, it is mostly just cut. Now I've got different colors here between this part of the rabbit, the feet, and the hair bow. You can cut out or you can use the ribbon that I have given you. So what I want to do is cut a lot of these things out with the same color so I can put them on one sheet. So let's start by, let's just click here and ungroup everything and just make a few changes. So I've got my rabbit body here, I've got the 2 feet here. I'm going to make all of these 3 things. If you're going to use the bow this way, I want to make them the same color as the rabbit, so everything cuts out on one sheet of paper. Now as far as this part goes, I want these 2 feet, click and shift click, I want those to be the same blue, and you can see where it changes here. And then the lines in the middle here, you will find over here it says bunny treat bubble. You can see the lines here in the layers panel. I want those to be perf. Now if you don't have a perf tool, just leave them as a basic cut, and I'm just going to click on perforate because that's what I want, and I'm going to highlight both of these and I am going to attach them. Nothing else needs to be attached. Now if you want to cut everything out on the same piece of paper or the same mat, then what you're going to have to do is just grab these extra pieces, and I have multiple in here. It's not going to let us make a change, but you would want to change those to the same color as the rabbit. I'll start with the feet. I'm going to grab it over here. I'm going to make it the same pink, and then I can grab the bunny treat. This is just the outside edge. I can change its color to pink, and that's the easy way to do it. Now I'm cutting it all on the same mat. However, I can separate things out when I get to the mat. So what we want to do now is you can save this, and then I'm going to go over to make it. It's going to put everything out on the same mat. Now remember I said I wanted to keep 2 of these separately, so let's just move these to separate, and I can move these ones up here. I guess I could put it sideways so I can fit everything across. So let me just grab this across and we'll just turn it, which is just fine. Great. And I can put that into the area, and if I want a pink bow, and that allows me to cut a piece of paper that's just 5 inches here, and this one would be 7. So I am going to actually flip this one around as well so that I can cut this all on just simply 2 pieces of paper. Just grab this here. Not very good at making this straight. Great. I'm going to just put this down in the corner. These are going to be on the same sheet of paper. So what we're going to do is, this is going to be an 11-inch piece of paper, 6.5 by 11, so I can make this fit in here. I just want to make sure that I've got everything that fits inside so that I'm not going past that 11-inch mark, and that's pretty good here. So that's 5 and 5. So I can cut 2 pieces of paper, so I have 6 and 6, and put them on the same mat for cutting. Now I'm going to take you through the entire cutting process for this. So that looks pretty good the way I want it. And we are going to connect our device. And what we're going to do is we are going to pick a medium cardstock for what we're going to work on. So that's a medium cardstock. And there's a couple of things that we're going to do as we get through with this particular item. So I'm going for the medium cardstock, but I'm going to have to prep up everything. Now, it wants the perf tool right away. That's the first thing it's going to do. But we need to cut the sheets of paper that are going to match for this. So before we go there, let's just get everything all prepped up here. I have here a cutting tool all ready to go. I have my sheets of paper. I have my little half domes here for the thing. I have my colorful brad, everything to go. So I need these 2 pieces that are only going to be 6 inches. So the first thing we want to do is we want to cut these. So I only have 6 inches of material. All I have to do is measure it up here to the 6-inch mark. Make sure we're pretty steady in here. I'll just cut off the extra piece, put it aside. And the same with this one. I just need 6 inches of material. I'm just going to measure it up to the 6-inch mark. And we'll start in the middle here. Great. Get rid of the extra piece. Now I have the 2 sheets that I am going to be working with here. Just back out of the way. Now at the top is where we wanted to have the pink part. So I'm just going to put the pink part at the top here. And of course the pattern is going to be at the other end over here because that's where I placed them. Now this is really important because you want everything to be down really smoothly here so that when things cut, they're not going to pull off the mat. I really get it down in here solid. And that is a real big key to the whole thing that we're going to be doing. Now, as we go through here, I'm put in the blade that we want. Now, I know you can't see my machine over here, but I'm simply going to fit it in this way. And I'm going to get it to start cutting. So I'm just going to load it up. And let's go back over here. Just ask for my perf tool. It's just measuring the length right now. And it won't take very long before it takes care of the perfing. So I'm just going to get my prep. As you can see down in the bottom corner here, this is where it's going to do the prep perf. Now it always detects, it always takes a while to make sure that you have the right tool in place, and that's an important aspect of exactly what we're going to be doing here. So it's that breather while it goes through. It says load perf in clamp B. I just got to make sure that I have the right tool, and I do not. So let's take a look and see. We've got our knife tool. Where did our perf tool go? Okay. We are going to take our tools apart here, and I'm going to find the right tool for what we want. The machine will always tell you exactly what you need. Let me just change tools here. Just give me 1 second. Takes a moment or two to get it out of the container. There we go. Looks like we have the perf tool here. it looks like we are ready to go here. It's going to give us the perf that we've been looking for. All right, looks like we are going to be perforating. There are actually only 4 lines that it's going to perforate. And now we're ready to cut. All right, that will be finished in just a moment. So let's go over to the demo table while we're getting ready. And I just wanted to show you the little tool case that I got from Cricut, where I hang all of my blades. And the extra ones, if they're not in my tool belt, sit at the bottom here, including the foil kit and all of the different extra blades that I have. And I keep that handy so that I can just grab tools as I need it. Now that should be finished in just a second or two. And we're going to prep up a couple of things here while we're waiting for this to cut. Now you'll notice that we have an extra piece here that is hanging on the outside of that wall. Now what I generally do is I cut that off with a piece of scissors, and then I just kind of file it down to make it work for me. What I'm going to do is just take my scissors and just cut off that extra piece, just like that. The garbage can. Now it's a little bit rough here. So what I find works really well, I just grab a nail file, any kind of nail file, and I just file it down so there are no rough edges. We don't want anybody getting hurt with this. It doesn't affect the look of anything, but it just stops any rough edges. Okay, we have that part ready. Just put those aside, and it looks like we have everything cut on our mat now. So I'm going to take the extra pieces away. Just grab those so you can see everything. Now we do have the bow and we have the bunny pieces, so I'm just going to grab that out of there. So there's our first piece. And here's the piece that has the perf in the back, and that's going to go in behind. So now we have a few pieces, and of course we have the feet. I'm going to have feet that fit here, and then the feet pieces that fit over top. I just love having the extra little holes there. And of course, if you wanted to use the bow, we could put the bow up in the top, but we are going to be using a ribbon, and you can use both pieces if you want. Now these are just extra pieces. You can use every part that you want. You can use and save the extra pieces if that's what you like to do. I'm just going to pick them off of here for now and put my mat away. I like to get the sticky cover on it right away so that I am not messing it up. Just cover that right back up. Move it out of the way. And now we have all the pieces we're going to be putting together. Now the perf part is right here, and we don't want to open it up, but if you can see it in the camera, not too sure if you can see it okay, but there are perfs here. I'll just break it open a little bit here. And those perf pieces, as you can see, we can open that right up. Well, we don't want to open it up right now because the person receiving the treat is going to want to break open that perf. Now, the first thing we want to do, of course, is just start gluing everything together. Now, I have a lovely little glue mat that I use, just a little glue mat, and I know these are pink and pink. You should be able to see most of it. That's just so I don't get everything too dirty. All right, next part is, of course, we want to use our glue. Now I use this Barely Art glue because I find it's one of the best glues that are around. And of course, when I want the tools, or the extra pieces here, I have a lot of glues. And I'm just going to open this up, grab the piece that I need. Right here. This is a thin tip. Just want to make sure we have no extra glue here. Just a thin tip. You don't need a lot of glue when you use this Barely Art glue. I am going to just give it a few little dabs. We don't need a lot. Just enough to hold it into place. So it's very thin. You don't use a lot. Just want to hold it together a little bit. Don't worry about the middle so much. Okay. Just give it a few little dabs around every single little piece here. That looks good. Just move that out of the way. Now the big trick here is you want to match everything up. So I usually put it in upside down just like that before I press it down. That's so I can see if there are any edges. And that looks really good. So we're ready with this first part. Let's put that aside. I'm going to glue these two pieces together to start before I put them on the rabbit. So let me just turn this upside down once again, just a little bit of glue. You don't need a lot of it. Get those rabbit feet. And one more, and it dries pretty quickly, which I really enjoy. It's not going to come apart. There we go. All right, so now it is time to put our feet into place. I'm just going to add just a little bit at the bottom here. So no, it's hard to see because of the white. Just over the edge, just a little bit like that. All right. Now, the next part is putting our little bubble that we made. Remember, we filed off the edge. We want that to go over the top right here. But before I glue it into place, of course, we've got to fill it up with a treat. So I have these cinnamon candies I'm going to put into place. Maybe a couple too many. Put those aside. Get them right inside there. And then what I need to do is simply put the glue on the edge here, just on the edge, so that I glue it in place. I'm just putting it on the circle. Probably should have taken the candy out and put it in afterwards, but I didn't. It doesn't matter if you get a little extra on the edge. Because the person that gets the treat is likely to open it up on the back end anyway. All right, let's get our treats inside the bubble. Now we are going to put the bubble down and center it as best as possible. And just hold it into place for a little bit. Just want to make sure it's centered pretty well. Let's see if it's going to hold. We can add a little extra around the edges here just to make sure it stays into place. This dries clear, so you're not going to see any extra pieces. It's just going to take a moment or two. Okay, we've got a couple more things that we need to do. Waiting for that. Now remember, you could use the bow that was here, or we can create our own bow. And I like to create my own. And I usually just take it and I loop it up like this. I don't actually tie anything. I just loop them up just like that, so I've got a nice little bow. Show you that once again. You've got to loop over and bring it down, and a loop and bring it down. Okay. our loop up there. If it's too long, no worries, we'll cut it off at the end. Well, it doesn't look too bad. Got a little extra. I think that looks pretty good. Now remember, I suggested a brad that you can poke into the middle just to make it easy. So what I'm going to do is just grab that brad, find the center, and work my way through with the brad. Now if I can't get it through in that direction, what you can do is you can use one of your tools, and I just use a straight pick tool. I'm just going to grab the end off, and I'm just going to poke a hole right through that center so it comes all the way through the other side so you can see it coming through. And that way it's easier to get to that brad and put it through that hole if you can't poke it right through. Okay. Brad looks good coming through there now. You can feel it coming through the other side. There we go. The brad is through on that side. Now, the other part is, because I don't want to glue it into place, I'm simply going to poke it through any part of the paper that I want. So let's put it through right about here. It looks really good. Just get it poked through, and then of course close the brad pieces. Now we have a cute little bow. Now I don't like the way this is sitting, so what I'm going to do is just bring my scissors in, and I'm just going to cut a little bit this way and turn it around. Make sure that that sticks too. And cut this a little bit in. Get a nice little angle going here. There we go. Get rid of our extra piece. And then of course bringing it around this side. Doing the same thing on the other side. Just cut it part way up. Turn it. And cut it the other way. Make sure nothing else is in the way here. There we go. So now we have this ribbon that looks really cute without tying it. You just used a brad to keep it into place. The cute little bunny feet. We have our treat box in the center, and of course once they want the treat, they can just simply push through here and grab it out. And that is our beautiful little bunny treat card.